This is ESBR Boxing. I'm delighted to be joined by Elliott. We're just reacting to the news, obviously, that everyone will have seen now in the boxing world, that Luis Alberto Lopez will be on his travels, this time to Belfast to defend his IBF world featherweight title now. He obviously won that belt last time out against Josh Warrington. He is now defending it. He's going into the Lions Den, the backyard of Michael Conlan in Belfast on May the 27th. So yeah, obviously the week before we've got Katie Taylor and Chantel Cameron in Dublin. Then north of the border we have Michael Conlan in world title action now. So what a week to be on the island of Ireland. Elliot, coming to you, just reacting to this fight getting announced. What do you make of it? Do you think it's a good fight? Were you surprised at all by the fight being announced? How do you see it playing out?
Well, I want to start off by saying I feel honoured to be here, talking through obviously, like I say, a big night in Northern Ireland with a proud Northern Irishman like yourself, Paul. I like this fight. Actually, I must say I do really like this fight. I was a bit surprised, just given where Conlan is in the rankings. And I think he's beneath Jazza Dickens even in those IBF rankings as well. But obviously, I think there's obviously a huge backing, huge audience, probably some sizable money coming in for this fight as well. And I also, my reaction is positive. Frankly, I'd like to see Michael Conlan lift the world title. Frankly, I think he deserves to. Very close against Lee Wood. Obviously, we saw what happened at the end there. And I like this. I like this fight a lot. Yeah, and I'm not going to spoil it actually with any predictions, but I was going to say I do like this fight a lot. Yeah, and I'm sure coming back to you, Paul, you are enthusiastic about this as well. Obviously, taking place like you say in the island of Ireland for a Northern Irishman to potentially lift the world title.
Yeah, no, I am. I can't wait. I think obviously I've been to the Conlan's last few fights since the Leewood loss. He's fought twice at the SSA Arena in Belfast. I've been ringside both times. Against Miguel Mariaga, he won on points in a fight that he was cautious in because he was, well, and I rightfully so, didn't want to get stopped like he had done in the Leewood fight. And then last time out he was emphatic. He knocked out Kareem Guerfi in the very first round in December there, just passed. So fingers crossed, all being well. Conlan Boxing and everyone there, if you're watching, please accredit me for my press pass, and I'll be there again on the 27th of May. Yeah, as I mentioned there, Conlan's bounced back with two decent wins. I can see why he's getting the world title shot. Lopez, not a lot of people knew a whole lot about, obviously a Mexican fighter, but he did beat Josh Warrington last time, again as the away fighter. Do you think that the fact that this is they going to be in Belfast, and I'm not just saying this because I've been to them, but you see Conlan fights in Belfast, you can just feel the atmosphere even during on the day and during the week. You just know there's something big brewing and when he walks out, it's incredible. It is deafening. Do you think anything like that could affect Luis Alberto Lopez at all, or do you think the fact that he fought Warrington last time away from home will have prepared him well for this?
That's a very good point, actually. I do actually think fighting Warrington would have prepared him for this. Frankly, I don't think. I mean, there's similar sort of rabidness in the sort of fan base, but I think Conlan takes it to a next level, doesn't he? Like when you see, obviously, the music comes out, the noise, it is Warrington kind of. I'm going to say sort of, on narcotics, but it's kind of extension of kind of that experience. But I do think the experience that he has had with Warrington will put him in good stead. And obviously he's fought, like I say, he's fought in the UK, he's fought in the US, he's fought in Mexico. So it's not like one of those guys that you see just kind of fought into his backyard, then comes over and be a bit overwhelmed by it. Beat Warrington as well. Make it that what we will in his backyard. So you have to say fair play. I don't think he'll be too affected by it, frankly. But I do think that Conlan will raise it obviously there as well, frankly. I think he'll be affected by it positively. And I think this will be a great night for Northern Ireland in general.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting caveat, really, to be honest with you, Elliot. The last time I was there, obviously I mentioned the Guerfi fight, and it was noticeable. It's one of the first times I've ever noticed how nervous the fighter was walking into the ring. Like Guerfi started walking to the ring, and he'd been confident in the build-up. And as soon as he started walking to the ring, getting booed, blah, 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 he looked visibly nervous and edgy when he got into the ring. And then when Conlan came out, and it was, you couldn't even hear yourself think. I think that's one of the reasons that Conlan got to Guerfi so early on. Just another interesting question that I'm going to toss back over to you, Elliot, is Conlan won that his last fight by knockout. He's not seen as a big puncher really, but he does have nine knockouts in his 18 wins. Lopez has 15 knockouts in his 27 wins. On paper, Conlan's 4 inches taller. He's the bigger man. Do you if this fight? I'm not going to ask you for a prediction at all here. Maybe in a minute I will. But is this fight destined to go 12 rounds for you? Whether no matter who wins, or could you see a stoppage going either way?
I think it does. Yeah, I think it goes points either way. Frankly, like you said, like Lopez hasn't been stopped. Conlan's not known as a massive puncher, so I don't see Conlan stopping him. I think we have seen Conlan stopped, but it took Leewood, who is a big puncher, to do that. And in the last round, I think Conlan would have learned from that experience. Be obviously a bit jaded initially by having come so close, but I think we'll have learned from that and then need to sort of switch on. And I think I don't see Lopez stopping. I mean, I might have given a slight inkling there as to who I think might win, but I just don't. I don't see Lopez stopping him. No, so I do see this being destined for 12 rounds. But in many ways, that adds to the intrigue. To be honest with you, I think it'll come down to that. It'll come down to the judges.
Yeah, I agree. I think this fight goes 12 rounds. I do agree with you. No matter who I think wins, I think it goes 12. But interestingly enough, obviously Conlan trains with Adam Booth, and it was noticeable. Adam Booth did it pre-Guerfi fight. He said about how much harder Conlan was punching, and I just thought it was, he's not a big puncher. He's just saying that as his trainer. He's hyping him up. Then he went and dismantled Guerfi in a round. So maybe he is punching harder. Maybe he's sitting down on his shots more, and he could go on to be a big puncher in this division. You never know. He could stop him, but yeah, I see it going the full 36 minutes too. Just finally, Elliott, to finish off. Can't finish this video and can't let you away without giving a prediction. Obviously, we're a good while away from the fight now, over 2 months away really from the fight. But I would just wanted to ask you, what is your prediction for May 27th in Belfast as Michael Conlan faces Luis Alberto Lopez for the IBF World Featherweight title?
I mean, this is heart and head this time. This is in complete unity, and I'm going to go with Michael Conlan on points. Frankly, I'd love to see him win this world title. I think he deserves to win the world title. He's a fantastic boxer on the eye, like you say, trained by Adam Booth. Technically brilliant, lovely to watch. Hasn't got the necessarily knockout power, granted, but from pure boxing ability, fantastic. And I think I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him win this. I think, there's other names in the division that he could go on, like super fights in the division. There's obviously the potential Wood rematch. Warrington's still kicking about. Imagine Warrington versus Conlan, those two fan bases colliding. I think I'd love to see him in sort of super fights defending that world title against other British names. So it's heart and head. Conlan for me. And I'm going to obviously pass back to you, Paul, but I'm going to add an additional question. And that is this. Say at the end of the 12th round, it's come to points, judges in, 3 unanimous decisions. You hear the words and it is Michael Conlan. Will you be happier in that moment as you were when Healy scored against England for Northern Ireland's 1-0 victory, which taking place in the early noughties? Which do you reckon provided you with more happiness?
Oh, dude, that's a funny one. To answer your question, I think I would be more delighted for Conlan I'm a Conlan fan. I would be more delighted for him probably. And part of the reason for that is because I'm gonna out myself here and say that yes, I am proud Northern Irishman and all, but I am also half English. My mum is very much English, so part of me supports England as well. So in football,
half of you was smiling, half of you was crying.
Yeah, exactly. But no, in all seriousness, I think it's an exceptional fight, and I completely echo what you say, Elliot. I think that Conlan points for me is the outcome of this fight. I can see it. I can see that being the result, and I really hope so. As you mentioned there, don't need to go over it again, but you mentioned some huge fights out there potentially for Conlan, and all the rest of the featherweights, even British and Irish featherweights. Forget it worldwide. Even just in Britain and Ireland, we've got so many talented featherweights. Obviously, Conlan, Leewood, Josh Warrington. One we didn't mention, Nick Ball on the fringe of world title level as well. But yeah, that's us. That's all we have time for today, folks. Obviously, just reacting to the fact that Michael Conlan is fighting for his second world title now, his second chance for a world title against Luis Alberto Lopez on the 27th of May in Belfast at the SSE Arena. Elliot, thanks very much for joining me. And yes, be sure to check out all of our other content on our YouTube channel, on Twitter, Instagram, and on all other platforms. Cheers, Elliot.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you all for watching.